Yes, indeed. Welcome to the Wednesday edition of Liberty Lunch Break, the topic du jour from Off the Wire. I am your host, Noel Olin, aka the Cajun Libertarian. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you're having an absolutely magnificent Wednesday. I hope it's great and wonderful and fantastic. I am about to absolutely ruin it for you. I'm just kidding. Totally kidding. No, totally kidding. We're going to have a lot of fun. But before we get started, please like, share, subscribe, Facebook, Twitter. Follow me there. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, please, at Cajun Libertarian. And follow me on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, basically anywhere you can find your podcast. Those platforms are blowing up. As you can see, I'm wearing my very fantastically loved shirt, Dangerous Liberty Over Peaceful Slavery. As soon as the website that I've been getting these from kicks back online because he was struggling monetarily, I will obviously send you those links so that you can also find some of the best political shirts that can spark a conversation on the planet. Now, what is the topic du jour? First off, we have a very dark episode of ladies and gentlemen, your president of the United States of America. It's usually a pretty funny one. And it can be, it will be a little funny. It will be a little funny. But it's also very dark. And so we are going to absolutely tackle that. And then right after that, the main topic du jour is Kentuckians who own less than 5 acres now need licenses to fish hunt on their own property. Yes, you heard that correct. In the very red state of Texas. Texas, Kentucky. I'm always bashing Texas. So that's funny. Yes, you heard that correct. Kentuckians who own less than 5 acres now need to ask the government for permission, lest you be extorted at threat of gun violence, to hunt and fish on your own property. Absolutely freaking amazing. This is just, and it will be cheered. It will be cheered. So obviously I'm going to encourage you by the end of this, because I'm going to prove to you that what I'm saying is not hyperbolic or any exaggerative at all in nature whatsoever. Completely true. 100%. And then you need to contact, if you're in Kentucky, you're going to have to contact your representatives. You have two of the best people in Congress, maybe the two best, Rand Paul and Thomas Massie. Okay. Now, I don't know if this is going to be in their district or not. I'm not sure how all of that really works, but I would say Rand Paul and Thomas Massie have enough pull to make waves in this department and contact whoever needs to be contacted. I'm going to give you the bill name, all of that, so you can go and fix this, because it's up to you, Kentucky. When we're dealing with stuff like this is just complete government overreach. Amazing. Anyway, let me not get too far. I got a whole article on that one. So first off, let's start off with, ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States. I want to read for you a quote from him. And I'm going to post it on the screen here. So let's go. Quote, Rebecca put the teacher's creed into words when she said, "There's no such thing as someone else's child. Our nation's children are our children. Our nation's children are our children. There's no such thing as someone else's child. That's why our administration supports the teachers who care for them." Sounds nice. Not too bad. Not too bad. Except horrible. Your child isn't yours now, apparently, according to this administration. But this isn't new. You know, this is a Democrat talking point for quite a while. I think it was Hillary Clinton that said, which said it takes a village to raise a child. So it was packaged a little bit fancier before. Remember, it's always being sold to you as something nice and pleasant. And, you know, I don't care. If you put a dress and lipstick on a pig, it's still a pig. Read through the lines. Now, for better, even worse context, I want to play for you him actually saying it aloud, because it gets worse. Yes, you heard that right. Let's go.
Her students tell her, even after they graduated, they hold on to the lessons she taught them, not only about integrals and derivatives, but about community connections, about how all of us belong. Rebecca put a teacher's creed into words when she said, "There's no such thing as someone else's child." No such thing as someone else's child. Our nation's children are all our children. As I often say, You teachers hold the kite strings to lift our national ambitions aloft. You really do. Imagine, just imagine if we didn't have great teachers in this country. What difficulty we're in. You are determining.
You are proof positive, Biden, that we don't have good teachers in this country. We have a very select few good teachers, my stepmom being one of them, 30 plus years, about to collect dropped. But you are proof, walking literal testimony that we don't have good teachers. Even when you weren't slipping off into severe senility, you were not a smart person. And somehow you graduated with a law degree. But then again, so did Kamala Harris. So we're not really talking about a high bar, are we? Pun intended. So I got a couple of answers for you, Joseph Robinette Biden. Here's one.
How about new?
Yeah. How about new? Here's another one. You're trying to serve us soft-served ice cream, and we're going to throw it in the trash.
Lieutenant Dan, I got you some ice cream. Lieutenant Dan, ice cream.
Accurate. That one's so funny. I have to play. I will be playing that clip for this segment many times over because it's just so accurate. Lieutenant Dan is America. Joe Biden is Forrest Gump. Is there a better depiction than that scene right there? For those of you supporting this disaster, what? And last but not least, the best one for this. Here we go.
Wrong, 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 wrong. Wrong, 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 wrong. You're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong.
You're wrong. Period. Absolutely disgusting. Under no circumstances will we ever even consider your trash. Full stop. No. I have 3 kids. You don't know their names. You don't know their birth dates. You don't know what's going on with them. You don't know how they learn. You don't know what words are difficult for them to read. You don't know which ones aren't. You don't know which physical capabilities they can and can't do. You know nothing about my children. My children. A straight gift from the Creator. Jesus Christ, by the way. Always a plug. Always a plug. Always a plug. No, sir. No. Wrong, 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 wrong. Wrong, 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 wrong. You're wrong. Full stop. No. All right. Now let's get to this. Kentuckians who own less than 5 acres now need licenses to fish, hunt on own property. This is from WPCO.com. This is a local Cincinnati station from April 13th. A provision included in Kentucky Senate Bill 241, Kentucky Senate Bill 241, which goes into effect immediately, now requires Kentuckians to have a permit to fish or hunt on their own property if the property is less than 5 acres. Excuse me. The bill, which predominantly contains language surrounding the Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife, need to have a permanent public access easement in the C.F. Atiyeh Wildlife Management Area. It was initially vetoed by Governor Andy Beshear. Contact Governor Andy Beshear. Contact your local House of Representatives, Kentucky. Contact your state Senate, Kentucky. Contact Thomas Massie, Rand Paul. Everyone. Absolutely not. Let's keep going. It was vetoed by Governor Andy Beshear on March 24th. However, the state's majority Republican House and Senate both overrode the veto, passing the bill on March 29th. The bill was also enacted as an emergency. Crisis is the rally cry of the tyrant. James Madison, 4th POTUS. Where'd I leave off? 1 second. Yeah, okay. Let's start with that back over because I didn't even finish that sentence. The bill was also enacted as an emergency, which means it takes effect immediately. Section 17 of SB Senate Bill 241 is what highlights changes to the current fishing and hunting license regulations found on page 30 of the 48-page bill. Senate Bill 241 on page 30 of the 48-page bill. Specifically, Section 17.4 was amended. SB 241, page 30, 17.4. The section says resident owners of farmlands of 5 or more acres, the owner's spouse, and their dependent children can hunt or fish freely on their own property without a permit. That's just amazing. This is the same thing they're trying to package to you in some sort of dress and lipstick. It's a pig. It is beyond absolute destruction and corruption. Just maybe a lesser format to them trying to steal your freaking kids from you, which I'm going to talk about the Washington bill probably Thursday night. Unbelievable. And California. Straight up legalized kidnapping by the state. If you choose not to, chop off their genitals or sterilize them via HT. Anyway, let's keep going. So yeah, maybe this is a little bit more mild, or give the Republicans credit there, I guess. This is disgusting. But these kinds of bills are what leads to what happens in Washington and California. These are the precedents set when you allow the state to just absolutely run roughshod over your own freaking property. Then how long before they do it to your family? These kinds of things must be immediately busted and slapped down by you, the people of Kentucky. And I know I have listeners there. This show is downloaded in over 38 countries. Kentucky, take care of this. I don't live there. And here I am, passionate, fighting for you. So fight. Share this video with every single person you know in Kentucky. I've given you all of the details. Crush this. The section says resident owners of farmlands of 5 or more acres, the owner's spouse, and their dependent children can hunt or fish freely on their own property without a permit. So if they own 5 or more, it's cool. Probably because they pay higher top property tax. Now, when I first read this, I didn't even realize that. Now I'm in real time. Yeah, that's why. Because they're already being extorted for more money. This is incredible. When you allow this to happen, you get slavery, because that ain't never peaceful. It just seems peaceful for a minute, and you lose any liberty whatsoever. This cannot happen in Kentucky. My gosh. All right. Tenants and their dependent children also have the same freedom if the property is rented. Remember, still talking about over 5 acres. Quote, we're hopeful this new exemption threshold will curtail abuse of the current exemption clause by some claiming to harvest game animals on extremely small tracts of land that they own, end quote, reads a statement from the Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife. Let me read that quote again. We are hopeful this new exemption threshold will curtail abuse of the current exemption clause by some claiming to harvest game animals on extremely small tracts of land that they own. Translation: we hope that this new law will deter people from being able to hunt and fish and provide for their families on the land that they own. But if you're paying property taxes and they can take it from you via threat of violence, then do you really own it? To those landowners who aren't required by law to buy a license or permit, but choose to buy them as a way to support conservation of fish and wildlife in Kentucky, we offer our sincere thanks, end quote. Before SB 241's passage, owners of small tracts of farmland were exempt from needing permits or licenses to hunt or fish on their own property. So, as I stated before we started the show, or as I started it at the beginning, giving you the rundown of what we're going to talk about, giving you proof that this isn't hyperbolic and it is no way in any form exaggerative whatsoever. This is real. If you own less than 5 acres, You now have to pay the government for permission to not go to jail or get fined for more money to hunt and fish your own land. I'll read that last sentence again. Before Senate Bill 241 passage on page 30, specifically section 17.4, before that, owners of small tracts of farmland were exempt from needing permits or licenses to hunt or fish on their property. Now, residents and landowners can be cited if they're found fishing or hunting on their own property without the proper license or documentation. Reading it again. Now, residents and landowners can be cited if they're found fishing or hunting on their own property without the proper license or documentation. Now, you might be saying, Noel or Cajun, that's not so bad. Just get the license. Do you know what Wildlife and Fisheries Game is already allowed to do? They can come and search your place without a warrant. So let's just say, for instance, I don't know, maybe they ban AR-15s. Assault weapons, scare quotes for those listening later. Lots of y'all listening later. Thank you so much. Please give me a 5-star review. Assault rifles, assault weapons, whatever, high capacity magazines. And they say, okay, well, that person has less than 5 acres. So I'm going to go search them to see if they've been hunting or fishing on their own land without a permit. And then they call the ATF because they found out that you now illegally, by no fault of your own a perfectly safe rifle, that you are well within your rights under the Second Amendment of this Constitution that we're supposed to call the supreme land of the United States. You're going to jail because they don't have to have a warrant to search you, to my knowledge, unless that's been changed. And maybe it's different state to state. But how can how are they going to come search you? What, just because you have a warrant will be issued by a judge just because you have less than 5 acres, just to see if you're hunting and fishing on your own land? No, they can just show up whenever they want because of the Game and Fisheries Wildlife Department. That's why. Which we should have never given them that power in the first place. Again, there is no such thing as a slippery slope fallacy. The fallacy part is fallacious. That is the part that's a lie. The slippery slope philosophy, in theory and in practice, is real. And how any libertarian anarchist or even a minarchist or even like a real constitutional conservative can't see that the case is well beyond me. Well, don't ask the progressives. They don't care. They love it. They love all of the government interventionism. 100% full support. Unless it's something, unless it's something they don't like. Like, they don't, a Republican state doesn't want you to murder your baby when it's 9 months old and be birthed out on the table just because you decide otherwise. Yeah, well, then they're like, oh, no more government, less government. It's ridiculous. Don't even worry about them. They're completely lost. They've left the conversation. All right, we're not worried about progressives. They're out. They're gone. This is now the fight between all of us against them to save what little liberty we have left. And when you start going down this road and making excuses for it, that's how you wind up with where we're at right now. Let's read the last of it. Craig Emerson of Walton, Kentucky, hunts and fishes on public land. Emerson said he's more than happy to purchase his license each year. However, he said when it comes to his own property, it's a different story. Well, guess what, brother? This is how you got there. Slippery slope is real. Because you were perfectly happy to pay to fish and hunt on public lands, now they're doing yours. Full stop. So no, you shouldn't be happy with that. You should not have to ask permission and pay for permission or be threat of extortion or violence, because there is no law in which state will not kill you to enforce. Should have never allowed that. You should have never accepted that as an acceptable answer. Ever. Quote, just another thing of the government kind of putting their nose and putting their hands where they don't belong, Emerson said. If you own land privately, what you do on your own land should be your business and your business alone. Yeah. Now do all kinds of other stuff. Obviously, if it infringes on someone else's ability to pursue life, liberty, and happiness, or, don't hurt people, don't take their stuff. If it doesn't violate that, then you're absolutely correct. What you do on your land is it, period. Now, before you might go saying, I know most of y'all won't, but there's a lot of new listeners all the time. No, well, Cage, it's just a little bit. I mean, let's just, it's just $5 a year. What's the big deal? Well, I already kind of laid out why. Well, it's just 27 cents for every 10 years. Okay? Don't. Reality of power. If every Kentuckian just said no, what could they do? What could they do? You're going to arrest them all? So no, it's not about whether it's $100 a day or 10 cents per lifetime. I don't care. You know why?
It's not about money. It's about sending a message.
It's about sending a message. And we'll leave it right there. Contact your people. Have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow. Same Cajun time, same Cajun channel. Galatians 2:20, and I am out.